Well, this is going to be our last episode for the week. You just caught me finishing my lunch up here. Yeah, this is what old people eat in America now. It's not like when my grandparents had to eat dog food because there ain't too much in here. There's chicken broth, animal liver, rice, chicken meal, brewer's yeast dried, beef plain, whatever the fuck. I mean, yeah, that's what we're fucking eating. It's a fucking tragedy because only reason I just did that is because I just went food shopping and everything. Every time I go, it's more and more and more. And when is it going to be enough? When's the greed going to stop, boys and girls? Because that's all it is. We're not fucking short of anything. It's corporate greed. That's all it is. Corporate fucking greed. But be that as it may, that seems to be the fate of people like me in this country. We're going to be fucking eating fucking dog food because that's all we can afford. But all right, enough of that. That's a crime. So why don't we do some hard-boiled crime films today, like Madigan from 1968, starring Richard Widmark, Harry Gardino, and Henry Fonda and Inger Stevens. Interesting little film here because when you look at this film, it's almost like a template for 48 hours, only it goes 72 hours. Detectives Widmark and Gardino go to visited a con to see what he's up to or something, not knowing he's been charged in a homicide. He gets the upper hand on them, disarms them, and takes their guns and goes on a rampage. Now, Commissioner Henry Fonda gives them 72 hours, the weekend, to end this whole thing. So there's a lot of back and forth, in and out, and a lot of chases and miscues and shit like that as they track the guy down. And the bad guy is played by Steve Einat, who actually was in Ted Michaels' Strike Me Deadly and the cop comedy Fuzz in the early 70s. Unfortunately, like two other of his co-stars, Inger Stevens and Michael Dunn, they only lasted about 6 years past this film and then unfortunately passed away. Michael Dunn is in this is a mafioso type midget. I did write some other shit down. Let me see here. Yeah, well, basically, there's a lot of stuff going on there. You know, Inger Stevens is married to Madigan, the Widmark character, who's also cheating with Sherry North. And there's a bunch of stuff where she almost cheats, then pulls herself back just in time to find out that he gets killed during the climactic shootout. So there's a downbeat ending with this as Madigan dies on the way to the hospital in the ambulance. Widmark wasn't one to do network TV, but he got conned into doing a series, Madigan, or something like that thing. I think it only lasted a year, even though it had high ratings. But pretty good film. I mean, you go 1968. That was the cusp when everything started changing. It was also the same year we got Night of the Living Dead, so it was a pivotal year in cinema. But another film that was out was The Don is Dead, starring Anthony Quinn as a Don, and also starred Robert Forrester, Frederick Forrest, and Al Lettieri. The thing is with this, Robert Forrester is a up-and-coming mobster who wants to go and do big things. The Anthony Quinn character takes him under his wing and doesn't want him getting involved in drugs. Well, he is already involved in drugs. He has to go to Italy to finalize something, and then he tells the Don that that will be the last time he ever deals in drugs. Well, his girlfriend, played by Angel Tompkins, is an aspiring singer, and as a favor, the Don, who has connections to, you know, of course, record companies and stuff like that, agrees to hear her work. Well, this is all why, while Forrester is over in Italy making his dope deal, well, Angel seduces the Don and gets the record contract. When he returns, Forrester, he is slightly perturbed and does what every Italian gangster does when, you know, he's cheated on. He puts her in the hospital. That sort of triggers a gang war between his guys, the Fargo brothers, played by Frederick Forrest and Al Lettieri, who really want out, and his crew, which actually there's some interesting fucking people in this. You have Joe Santos, Ina Balin, Abe Vigoda, Victor Argo, Charles Ciaffi, and some other people you would notice. And Al Lettieri and Abe Vigoda are fresh off The Godfather. So a gang war boils down. There's kidnappings, there's shootings, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Tony, the younger of the Fargo brothers, played by Frederick Forrest, really doesn't want in until his brother Vince gets killed when Forrester fucks up. So he takes over the gang. And as much as he didn't want to become a mafioso, he does become a mafioso. And because of the pressure of the gang war and a couple of his closer friends get killed, the Don has a couple major strokes which puts him in a wheelchair. Forrester's character goes over to Italy to finalize his deal and is killed over there because there was a contract put out on him. So there was a sit down basically with Tony and Don, and now Tony's in charge. Really cool film. Basically it was Anthony Quinn's, I think, 107th film in his return to Hollywood production. Al Lettieri was actually 36 years old when he debuted as an actor. He was in The Godfather along with Lenny Montana, and the rumor was that both of these guys could have been former hitmen at one time. Who knows? But anyway, Lettieri was a great villain. Was in The Getaway, Breakout, and others. In Breakout, he showed up late on the set when his scenes were ready to be shot, showed up with a bunch of hookers for the crew, walked down the road with Charles Bronson, only he didn't walk down the road with him. He sort of hugged Bronson to his side, and Bronson's feet weren't touching the ground. That's how big Al was. Unfortunately, Al succumbed to the Hollywood curse of alcohol and drugs and died of a massive heart attack. I believe he was like 51 or something like that in New York. So unfortunately, he was good. I mean, he was really good. He was a menacing heavy. He played against, Bronson, McQueen, John Wayne even. So great heavy actor. Unfortunately, like I said, he fell into that whole trap and never got out of it. Then we have Hickey and Boggs, reuniting the I Spy team of Robert Culp and Bill Cosby. Cosby is Hickey, Culp is Boggs. They're two down-on-the-heels private eyes who take a case to find a missing girl who has a lot of money, who is actually extorting a bunch of people, bunch of mobsters. And the weird part is, I don't know, let me see something here. Hickey and Boggs had character actors sprinkled throughout it. Early appearances of James Woods, Michael Moriarty, Isabel Sanford, Rosalind Cash was Hickey's love interest, and Vincent Gardenia as police chief. So there's a lot of back and forth, but the weird thing is there's a three-man hit team hired to get this girl, and there's a lot of shootouts between them and Hickey and Boggs, as Hickey and Boggs walk around with 44 Magnums. The hit team, basically, they're just there. I mean, they don't interact, they don't talk. It isn't like, let me think of a bunch of bad guys like when they had Haney Calder with Ernest Borgnine, Strother Martin, and Jack Elam, where they were constantly arguing and fighting and shit like that. These guys don't really have any dialogue. There's one guy who's a driver, one guy who's a shooter with a machine gun, and one big guy who's a strong-arm killer who's a little bit psychotic. Unfortunately, he kills Rosalind Cash in a really bad scene where Cosby's basically sitting there, and all you see is her legs tied with electrical wire to stuff and blood all over them. So there's a big payoff, a lot of double crosses and triple crosses, a lot of people get killed, and Hickey and Boggs take down the attacking helicopter that's coming in to get all the money and right all the wrongs done to the mob, because the backstory is the money that this woman is using to extort everyone was stolen in a bank heist and belongs to the mob, so they want it back. So at the end, basically everybody fucking dies except Hickey and Boggs, and Hickey blows away the guy who killed his wife, who's basically the only one left, grunting and groaning, trying to find a club out of the helicopter wreckage to attack them with. And Hickey just hits him with a .44 Magnum in the chest and blows his back all over the beach. So another 70s downbeat ending, but actually pretty cool to see the old I Spy team re-teamed again. But then, of course, we all know that what a scumbag Cosby actually turned out to be with his roofing chicks and stuff like that. I wonder if he even roofied Fat Albert. But there's 3 pretty good hard-boiled crime movies that played on 42nd Street and that you really should check out. And being that I am Italian, and being that we have forgotten to laugh at ourselves, I'm going to leave you with a little mob joke, which will be ethnic, and like I said, I'm Italian, I can get away with this. It involves the 3 little pigs and the big bad wolf. And the big bad wolf is chasing the 3 little pigs, and they go to the first little pig's house, who's made out of straw. And the big bad wolf huffs and puffs and blows the house down. So they run to the second little pig's house. It's made out of wood. Same shit happens. Big bad wolf huffs and puffs and blows the house down. So then they go down to the third little pig's house that's made out of brick. And they get inside. The wolf's prowling around outside. The third little pig finally goes, you know something? Fuck this shit. Pulls out a cell phone, dials a number, says something. And the other, they go, what's going on? They go, just wait a couple minutes. All of a sudden, this black Lincoln Continental pulls up outside. These 4 huge pigs in 3-piece suits get out. They grab the big bad wolf, beat him with saps, duct tape his arms and legs together, and toss him in the trunk of the car and drive off. The 2 little pigs look at the third little pig and go, who the hell were they? And he goes, those are my cousins, the guinea pigs. Well, you either laughed or you're going to curse me out, either one. But I got to end this on a sort of strange note that tomorrow I'm going in for a stress test. It winds up that right about now I got something going on with my heart. They're saying it's coronary artery disease. I got plaque, I got calcium. God only knows what else is fucking wrong. So I got to take the test and see what the protocol is going to be, or if I'm really in the jackpot that I think I might be in. Hate to think that way, but then again, none of us are promised tomorrow, and unfortunately, this isn't really a good time of the year for me because too many of my old friends departed in the past 2 years around this time. Carter Stevens, Dan Saraki, Gary Clark, so not a really good time for me this year, but hopefully maybe things will be all right. I can only keep my fingers crossed and hope, but I'm a realist. 70 years old, beat the shit out of myself, did a lot of booze, smoked a lot of weed, smoked cigarettes, blew asbestos into the air when I was a mechanic, so I was exposed to a lot of shit, so who the fuck knows. But like I say, I'm going to try to be upbeat about this no matter what happens. So until I know the results and until next week, I wish everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for subscribing, thanks for tuning in, and above all, stay safe.